There are many out there who believe that the odd-numbered Star Trek films are the terrible ones in the series. And while I tend to agree in the cases of the motion picture, Star Trek V, Shatner ruins the franchise, and Insurrection, I do not agree when it comes to this film. So strap in and join me as we go in search of Spock. On the way back to Earth following the brutal battle with Khan in the previous film, Dr. McCoy starts behaving strangely. After an encounter with Spock's father, Sarek, Kirk learns that Spock transferred his living essence to Dr. McCoy via mind meld right before his death, which explains why McCoy has taken on some of Spock's mannerisms. So, Kirk, McCoy, Scotty, Chekhov, and Sulu band together and steal the Enterprise against orders and head for the Genesis planet to retrieve Spock's body. Meanwhile, on said Genesis planet, Kirk's son David and Lieutenant Savick find the regenerated Spock as a child and quickly learn that he is aging rapidly due to the Genesis wave. After arriving at the planet and doing battle with some Klingons, which costs Kirk his son's life and causes the destruction of the Enterprise, the crew then flees to Vulcan with Spock. Spock becomes whole again, and the crew is left to face their uncertain future as the film ends. As with most of the Star Trek films, the music is fantastic. James Horner sure can write an epic film score. That bit that plays during the theft of the Enterprise has to be some of my all-time favorite music in a film. I get chills every time I watch that scene. The camaraderie between the crew is at its best in this one. It really feels like an ensemble piece, which is mostly absent in stuff pertaining to the original series. Usually the story revolves around the trio, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. In this film and the next one, it really feels like the film is about everyone. Not just the trio, but everyone. Honestly, I like the Klingons as the main villains. I'm sure there are some out there that feel that, Klingons are overused in Star Trek. I mean, I understand that. There's something Klingon in every single Star Trek film, whether it's a Klingon person or even a ship, or even a simulated version of a Klingon ship, as was the case in the previous film. But I also think Christopher Lloyd makes for an interesting villain. And to think, 1 year after this film, he played his most famous role. Well, I think it's his most famous. That's right, Judge Doom and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. No, I'm kidding, it's Doc Brown. I think the movie is over a little too quick. It's barely over an hour and a half. Also, I get kind of disappointed that the film doesn't really have an actual ending. The ending of this film kind of reminds me of The Empire Strikes Back. That's right, I mentioned a Star Wars film in the middle of my Star Trek review. What you gonna do, brother? Anyway, my point is the film seems to purposely end on a cliffhanger. I want closure, damn it! I think this is a highly underrated film. I think it does the job of being the middle chapter in a trilogy very well, while simultaneously being an entertaining film on its own. But seriously, what the hell is Chekhov wearing? He looks like the Dutch boy from those Starburst commercials from a while back. I laugh every time he pops up on screen wearing that ridiculous thing. Anyway, despite any piddly little issues I have, I still really enjoyed the film. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Well, we're 2/3 of the way through the Star Trek trilogy. Join me next week for the final part in the trilogy, Star Trek IV, Save the Whales. The Voyage Home. Yeah, you know. I'll see you next week.
Good night.
Level, please.
Transporter room.
Thank you.
Up your shaft.